I have good news and bad news, and the bad news actually overweights definitely the good news. The good news is that today Sony released a new firmware update for the Sony A1, the 1.32 version, and the bad news is that there are no new features that Sony added via this firmware update. There are only bug fixes, which is good, okay, but we were hoping to get more, and this isn't the case, so there is quite some rant on the forums with people complaining that Sony didn't do his job by adding new features, and still I'm very positive and optimistic that Sony will at the end listen to our complaints and release probably a 2.0 firmware update in a couple of months that will add some very needed features that we see on entry-level cameras and that make sense on a higher camera like the Sony A1, of course also the A7S III and the A9 II and so forth. So fingers crossed that Sony is going to listen to us. I'm very optimistic about that because I'm currently in talk with people that are close to Sony, and I know the feedback to them is very strong, and they definitely got the message. So I kindly ask you to not be too harsh, too dark in your tone. Always be polite. We also have to be honest. Sony makes great cameras. And when they released the A1 and the A7S III, they were really on top of the game. And so we are talking about only us. If you have a holistic view about the whole system, Sony is still very competitive. There are probably two downsides are the inconsistent firmware update policy that I think we can push them to change in a positive way. So keep pressing on Sony with a positive, constructive and honest tone. The second issue with Sony is probably their pricing strategy. On some of their models, they're very expensive compared to the competition, and I think also in that direction Sony has to take some steps. And I will take just 1 minute to thank Panasonic Lumix for what they did with the S5 II launch. And yesterday there was the official S5 IIX pre-order launch with the first reviews out. The S5 IIX is very focused for filmmakers and cinematographers. It has all the features you can throw into a camera, including streaming capability and the max possible recording quality, and all that for $2,200. So it's $1,300 less than the A7S III. So basically this camera does more than the A7S III while costing a lot less. The A7S III probably has an edge when it comes to high ISO recording. And of course, if you look at the whole system, the EMAN system, the A7S III can, of course, tap into a more mature lens ecosystem, but still, Panasonic is likely going to force Sony to be more affordable when it comes to the pricing of the future cameras. I think that's just good for us that Panasonic keeps pushing on this. To be honest, Panasonic is also forced to do it because their L-mount system cameras are not selling in very high numbers. That's at least the info I get from the stores I'm connected with in Asia and Europe and US. The sales are not really comparable to the sales of the Sony E-mount system camera or the Canon R system camera. So Panasonic is really into a corner. They have to make cameras that have it all the features for a very affordable price to attract new potential customers. And I think Sony will never probably match that in terms of features and pricing. I don't think they will release an A7S IV that has the same pricing of the S5 II and with all the same features. Sony is not in need to do that, but definitely they have to consider the current pricing strategy. How can you sell the A7S III for $1,300 more if you have cameras that can do more for much less? Let's see how Sony will react to this. And today is also the big day for the Nikon Z8 launch. I leaked an image yesterday I found on the Chinese Weibo account. So here you see the first real image of the Z8. There's still not confirmed 100% sure pricing, but the pricing should be a tiny bit higher than the A7R5, although the Z8 in some areas also competes with a much more expensive Sony A1. So this will be a very interesting launch happening in a couple of hours, and I will report about that on sonyaforumors.com. But this is it. Again, don't be too disappointed about that A1 firmware update. It's good that they made some stability fixes that were needed. Stay positive, optimistic, like this video, subscribe to this channel, because there will be plenty of rumors coming soon. There will be, of course, the ZV-1 successor coming very soon. I hope to get the specs soon. The A6700, the new lenses. Also, I will soon publish the first A7C info that also contains one huge surprise, and probably it will be also the first time I will consider to buy a A7C, because this sounds very promising. And yeah, then let's hope the A9 III is also coming soon. So there's plenty of stuff coming, and you will be excited, and I'm sure Sony will improve in those areas that you want them to improve. So this is it as of today. See you soon.